Richie, I suppose, look, you know, Manchester United, they were talking about a bit of a revival at Stamford Bridge on Saturday. An awful first half here. It did improve in the second half, but still not good enough. Yeah,
I didn't buy the talk of the revival. Actually, it's not a bad night for them in terms of Valencia dropping points. So in the context of the group, you know, they're between Valencia and themselves for second spot. But the performance in the second half was an improvement on the first half. But it's still way, way below par what Manchester United should be producing in the Champions League. There was a spell about 65, 70 minutes. The crowd got behind them a little bit. They upped the tempo a bit. They were in Juventus' face a little bit and capitalised on some loose passing by Juventus. But overall, you sit there and look, how much work did Chesney have to do in the Juventus goal? How many times was he called upon to make a save? Comfortable save from Martial at the end once Pogba hit the post behind him, but comfortable night for him.
Now, I don't know, Didi, will Mourinho be asked questions either by the TV media or in the press conference later about the future and all that stuff? But, like, is it fair comment that so many of his players tonight were below par? It can't all be him.
No, but it's been happening for a number of weeks or for a number of months now, and no, it can't all be down to him. But at the end of the day, he's responsible for these players. I agree with you. When you've got these players, they're all international players. I expect more. I was big in Rashford and Martial up before the game. Both not been seen tonight, and Martial probably one of the worst performances I've seen in a long time. You know, if you've got these players, they've got to take responsibility and say, well, we may not play the style of football we want to play, but when I do get the ball, I'm trying to do something. And there was not one player on the pitch now where I say he's done himself proud, or he can go home and say, you know, I had a half-decent game.
Maybe De Gea.
Yeah, De Gea, you can make a point for him because he made a few good saves. But if you look at United, as Richie said, it was a spell for a few minutes, 65, 67 minutes, where the crowd started to get behind him. It was one tackle that was won, and they won the ball back, and they attacked down the right-hand side. This is how desperate things have become at Old Trafford, because one tackle gets the crowd behind them. They saw these fantastic players over the last 50 years. This was a shocking performance. It's not for the first time. Valencia was a similar thing. And I just wonder what people, what the board, what Ferguson, or even the manager, what he thinks when he watches this. Because it was, in the first half, at times it was embarrassing. How easy it was for Juventus to go to Old Trafford and dominate a Manchester United team that I think spent a billion quid since Fergie.
Well, that's over 5 years.
Over 5 years.
Yeah, but it's still £1 billion.
But he didn't spend it all. Mourinho didn't spend it all.
We're not saying he did that. Yeah, it's the club's in a mess, isn't it? It really is.
Well, commercially, they would argue they're still making money commercially.
It's what happens on the field. Yeah. That's what Manchester United is all about. You know, to make Man United, you know, strong commercially is like shooting fish in a barrel. It's easy. It's easy. People flock to them. But if they carry on like this, they won't. Well, they'll take their money elsewhere, the big sponsors.
Exactly.
And so
but Woodward said recently they have to invest in the team. They have to, you know, it has to be successful on the pitch. You can't have one without the other.
Yeah, but
like, did he use that language?
Nearly £1 billion since Fergie.
Sure.
Fergie left a title-winning team. Okay. David Moyes got very little time, very little money. Maybe Fellaini and Mata he brought to the club. Now, Van Gaal, after David Moyes, spent fortunes, and it was still a mess. And Mourinho was brought in to rescue the situation, and he spent fortunes, and it's still a mess.
Well, he'll argue about trophies he won. Got them in the Champions League.
3 trophies that really don't count in Manchester United.
Well, they've never won the Europa League before. They won the
okay,
because they've never been in. But that's what he says.
Okay, but Manchester United are all about the Premier League and all about the Champions League. And tonight, the gulf in class was so evident. It was frightening if you were a Manchester United fan. The gulf in game understanding. You know, the Juventus players looked far more prepared, knew what they were doing. The United players didn't know what they were doing. I think Richie said that at half-time, or did you say that? They didn't have any game understanding. They didn't know what they were supposed to be doing. And the manager,
well, that's the
manager
gig.
takes the buck.
He
carries the can for that, doesn't he? The buck stops with him.
They're throwing good money after the bad. He wanted Bonucci, he wanted centre-backs in the summer. He brought Bailly in.
He didn't get them.
Yeah, but he brought Bailly in for 35, 40 million. Lindelof was brought in for 40 million. It's not that he didn't bring players.
All right, there was a player on the bench tonight, Fred, who cost 50 million.
More.
59.
In the transfer window at the start of the season. And as bad as Man United were, Mourinho didn't put him on. Now, what does that say about his choice for Fred? Well, he obviously he spent the money badly. He's looked at him and he said, you're not good enough to go on, even when my team is struggling.
Yeah. But does this come back to the point we don't know who we don't know who gave Luke Shaw the extension to his contract? We don't know who signed the player.
Exactly. You're talking here about investing in the team and how do you improve the squad. Usually there's a system in place where a manager picks it or there's a director of football appointed to do it. They have a manager who they don't support his decisions, that not quite publicly, but they've leaked it to the media that they don't, and they haven't a replacement. So if they're going to have to make changes in the squad, who is doing that? Because they don't seem to trust Mourinho's judgment, which isn't a bad call given some of the decisions he's made. But as in terms of the solution, where does it go?
Hold on a minute, boys. Hang on, hold that thought.